We are live, but we got to let it breathe just for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, as we bring on Facebook and let that oxygen saturate through the bloodstream. I mean, it is mile high. You can get a little woozy. You can get a little dizzy if you don't make sure you're on top of your O2. But it looks like we're good. So welcome in, everybody. It is the Huddle Up Podcast, presented as always by Mile High Huddle, powered by Blue Wire Podcasts. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him, Zack Kelberman. Zach, would it surprise you to learn that Noah Fant somewhere, somehow envisions potentially a return to the Denver Broncos? And in case you missed it, his statement to his first statement to in the Denver media market anyway, post-trade, did not snub Broncos fans. We can go through that.
Well, the Broncos are the team that used a first-round pick on him that brought him to the NFL, so he has some sort of loyalty and emotional investment. He was never used correctly in Denver under Pat Shurmur of the previous coaching regime, like many other players around him, so I feel like he has some affinity for the Broncos. But he's in a new situation now where it looks like he'll be the starting tight end in Seattle, and I feel like if he starts putting up the numbers and getting enough victories, I feel like he's going to forget about Denver. It's like moving on to an ex to another person. You kind of just, life goes on. So it wouldn't shock me, but the Broncos got rid of him for a reason, and that reason being that Alberto is the apple of their eye. Nathaniel Hackett, Justin Alton, George Payton, they believe he can be a move weapon tight end and something that Noah Fant couldn't do in the Mile High City. They feel like Alberto can. The thing is, in Seattle with Fant, they just re-signed Will Dissly to a multi-year deal. So it's another situation where he's not really the clear-cut number one guy. He might have to continue proving he should be getting those starting snaps. But new opportunity. I wish him well there. Also with Shelby and Drew Lock in Seattle. Not surprising that he would want to come back to Denver, though.
I honestly don't think it'll take him long to supplant Dissly as tight end one. I mean, just from a traits perspective, I mean, come on. But here's what he said real quick. This was Noah Fant joining the Stokely and Zach show on 104.3 The Fan today. His message to Broncos fans, quote, "I love you guys. It was a great 3 years I had there. I look at Denver as one of my second homes. I truly enjoyed it. Hopefully," here's the tease, "one day down the road I could come back," close quote. Now, for what it's worth, Zach, I don't interpret that to mean a datgum thing. I think this is just a guy that, it's in the same way as, if you feel like you're letting your kid down, we can't go to get ice cream tonight, but you know what? If you're good, maybe tomorrow, you're just trying to get past the situation and give him a little bit of a warm and fuzzy. That's all that was. Hey, you know what? Noah Fant, he's a quality guy, but at least he didn't snub Broncos fans in kind of the same way that Drew Lock did in his first statement post-trade.
It was definitely a nice thing for Fant to say, very classy thing for him to say. It's been a tough year for Noah as well. I mean, going through the losing season they had in Denver, playing for a coaching staff that couldn't care less about his abilities, his mother passing away tragically, Chad. It's been a really tough 365 for Noah Fant, and I do hope it gets better for him. But the Broncos have to move forward with who they have right now, and they have a guy in Alberto who they're really excited about, and so am I.
James Webb jumping in. This is a newer name on Super Chat. Welcome, thank you. And he says, shout out from Vegas. They won't tell you this, but this is Broncos country. We've got our own bar here. That's cool, dude. That's cool. Well, you'll have to shoot us an email, milehighhuddle@gmail.com, and tell us where that bar is, because we're going to be there in about a month. So, guys, so much more to get to. We got to talk about the power rankings. The Broncos made no team climbed higher in the ESPN power rankings than your Denver Broncos. We're going to get to all that. But first, and we'll do it with the help of Naj Altaf. That's right. It's a superstar segment day. It's Wednesday. Naj Altaf probably needs no introduction from us, but he's been with us as a member of our community for, I don't know, Zach. I can't picture a time on the live streams where Naj wasn't in the chat and community contributing to the conversation. He flew out from where he lives, which, was a hop, skip, and a jump for the meet and greet last year, week 3, Broncos Jets. A real shot of life. We have been looking forward to this. Naj Altaf in the house with us. Naj, what's good?
Hey, brothers. How are you guys doing today? Good to be on.
Better now, Naj. Appreciate you coming on.
No lie. We have been looking forward to this ever since the chance we got to hang out with you in outside the stadium that day. That was so fun. But this is, even though it's not our first exposure to hanging out with the living legend Naj Altaf, For a lot of people listening, it is. So we got to go through. What's up, Michaela? Good to see you. She's giving you some props. We got to go through, Naj, some of the bona fides, how you became a Broncos fan. You know the catchphrase, Broncos country, not a geographic location. It's a state of being. You're one of the great members of our community and in Broncos country who exemplify that. How did you become such a dedicated, outgoing, crazy? I mean, guys, before we went live, Naj gave me the tour of the man cave right now. Just passionate, crazy Bronco fan. How did that happen, dog?
Bro, first and foremost, real quick, I want to say how much I appreciate you guys not only having me on, but the last few years I've been able to listen to your podcast, what you guys do for the community. We were talking a little bit before everyone came on just about when it's stressful and as rough as the last 6 seasons have been, being able to bounce things and hear you guys and your thoughts and just comforting people, letting them get things off their chest. Unbelievable. So kudos to you guys for everything that you do.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
My Broncos story is actually pretty lame, I think, compared to everyone else that's been on here. You got some amazing stories, but probably before Zach, you were even born. I was a little kid. I used to watch a show. You probably never heard of it, called Punky Brewster, and they used to come on Sundays. Probably neither of you have heard that.
Dude, I watched Punky Brewster. Let's go. I'm born in 1979, dude. Let's go.
There you go. All right. So I was young, and it was like a Sunday, and I turned it on to watch it, and there was a Denver game on. Actually, they were playing the Seahawks. And the game went into overtime. So I was like, too young to curse or anything, but I was like, when is this thing going to be over so I can watch the Punky Brewster? But anyways, got into the game, started watching it. I love the orange and blue uniforms. And growing up, my parents, everyone around here were pretty big Redskin or Commander fans. Now they're called the Commanders. But in any case, yeah, man, I started off following the Broncos after that. I think it was 84, and been a loyal fan ever since then.
So we're going back to these, the Wayback Machine of your Broncos fandom, Naj, and this is where I ask my question. In all your years of Broncos fanhood, what is your happiest moment? It could be Russell Wilson, Peyton Manning, a lot to choose from, but what is your not so happiest moment as a Broncos?
The happiest one is unbelievable. Like, I put it right up there with, ahead of getting married and maybe right up there with having my first kid. But no, it was when Denver, when that pass got knocked down in the Super Bowl at the end. John Mobley, I don't know if you guys remember him.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Against Green Bay. And
51.
For a lot of fans that, kind of weren't part of that age of the Broncos, there was some heartbreak going up, with Elway going to so many Super Bowls and getting blown out in a number of them. And then to go that year and to kind of be huge underdogs. No one thought that the Broncos were going to win. And that was a tough team, because I remember the playoffs that year and going through Pittsburgh and Kansas City and then Green Bay and taking down Favre. Yeah, man, that's my best kind of Broncos experience ever, and one of the best life experiences. Next to seeing you guys last year at the Jets. Right there. They're right there.
Dude, so we still got to get your answer on the lowest moment, but let me just riff off something you said there, because you're right. There's a generational language barrier for if you didn't suffer through the 80s and even the 70s, right? Because we had the Orange Crush Super Bowl 78. You have no idea the relief of that tip pass that ended Super Bowl 32, and the Broncos are world champions. Like, you always wanted it to happen, but there was a part of you that almost believed it couldn't happen because we had been so cursed. It wasn't just 0-4 in the Super Bowl. It was 0-4, get to the Super Bowl and just get utterly embarrassed and crushed underneath the boot of whatever, pick the NFC champion. It went from, the NFC championship game back then, that was the NFL title game. Let's be honest. AFC teams were just getting trounced, started tightening again in the 90s, thanks to the Broncos. Thanks to the Broncos. But dude, awesome. What about your, what's the lowest moment for Naj as a Bronco fan?
Oh, I think it's pretty easy. The last 6 years. I think you just bundle the whole thing up and wrap it up in a package. It's been brutal.
Everyone says that.
You got to get off the high of. It used to be, man, when we lost to the Redskins back in that Super Bowl, was rough living out here. But man, the last 6 years, kind of not getting the team scoring over 20 points. Like hoping for a miracle to get to over 20 points. That's rough, especially after the Manning years. So.
When you brought something up in the green room, we were talking before we went live, guys. Naj was talking about the season finale against the Chiefs and the Melvin Gordon fumble that basically crushed any hope the Broncos had of actually snapping the streak, and how, the last 6 years, one of the symptoms of this disease, or this, I don't even know what you'd call it, but is the fact that when there was a setback in a game, Broncos just could never overcome that. They could never bounce back from that. Like, their eyes would go to the dirt. It was done. And I think that's about to change, Naj. How are you feeling about Russ coming in, Hackett coming in, all that?
Incredible, man. I think, watching those videos, you guys posted some of them with Russell flying out those guys with Sutton and I mean, even bringing out the backup quarterbacks to come out there. And then Judy couldn't make it. And I saw some things online. I don't really follow the Twitter or any of that stuff, but I think, Judy couldn't make it there, but then he gets another day, right? And gets to that. I just think it's fantastic leadership by Wilson. And I think the thing that's got me most excited about this pickup is you can tell how hungry he is. And I remember when we got Peyton Manning and there was a lot of doubters, and you're kind of seeing some of that right now in the national media with Wilson. How he's, kind of had an off year. He's not the quarterback that he was. Almost kind of like we made, I think probably one of the greatest trades in NFL history is what I think it's going to end up being. But there's some naysayers out there, and I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think he's really hungry. I think he's motivated. And I think he's going to mesh really well with this young coaching staff. And frankly, I think we need some leadership, like a more of a veteran player. And I think he's going to bring that. And I think he's going to bring a lot of the best out of this young talent. And I don't think anyone has quite seen what this young talent is capable of. But I think they're gonna be put on notice next season.
That's a great answer. I really got the goosebumps on my arm right now. Now, I can ask you so many questions, Naj, about the Broncos and what they've done in the last couple months. Give me your summation of George Paton. What grade would you grade Peyton's offseason? What's your favorite move? Okay, non-Russell Wilson favorite move, and what's your least favorite move? How do you feel about the Broncos going into the draft, let's say?
I would say it's a great question, brother. I mean, I think my favorite move right now is getting the interior lineman from San Francisco. I think that was one kind of hole last year, was worrying about getting kind of gashed on the run a little bit. Yeah. And I think that's from what I've read, that's a significant upgrade. I think outside of that, man, my favorite move really goes to last year when he re-signed the receivers. And when you got Cortland, Sutton, and Patrick locked down, and I know there were some, I mean, I think they seem like pretty team-friendly deals for when you see a guy like Devontae Adams get paid, what he's getting paid. And I think, man, we saw it with Decker and with Welker and with Demarius, what Peyton Manning did from Tebow going to Manning and how they exploded statistically. I think you're going to see a lot of that with the guys that we have now. And I'm really excited for KJ Hamler. I think coming off an injury, probably down, he's worked his, I'm sure, butt off to get back into playing shape. And I mean, what better deep ball thrower in the league to have to take advantage, to put you in the best position down the field than Russell Wilson. So, man, I think that I'm blown away by Peyton, but I got to say, I love Elway. I know he takes a lot of heat, but man, he won a Super Bowl. He got Peyton Manning over here, and but I think what Peyton's done has been remarkable, and I'm excited about this upcoming draft. I mean, you guys know all the players, man. I don't get to follow, and you guys are the experts. So, if you guys are excited about the draft, we get some good players that we can rotate in. I'll be excited about that as well.
We got people here remarking it that Naj is a great speaker, guys. Naj is a professional, all right. Naj is a pro. Trust. All right, we're not going to betray what Naj does to make a buck, but this guy is no stranger to speaking off the top of his head, as you can tell. Naj, dude, it's so fun talking with you. We could sit here for an hour just chewing the cud, and it would probably make for excellent content, everybody listening here. But I got to ask you this. Since it is your debut technically on the Huddle Up podcast, not going to be the last time, but Mount Rushmore, if you had to pick your number 4 most important Broncos to Naj Altaf, your Mount Rushmore, who's on that list?
Oh, man, I think we got to put Elway on there. I think he's done so much for the organization. Peyton for winning a Super Bowl. Von Miller being a Super Bowl MVP and just always a class act, even when he left with the video of him crying and everything, man. I mean, that was pretty remarkable. And then I'd put TD up there. And TD, I don't think Denver wins that Super Bowl against Green Bay without what Terrell did that year. And there's so many other guys, man, that have meant so much to this organization. That's what makes this organization special. People always talk about Dallas. Zach, I know you got them as your number 2 behind the Broncos. But, man, we've had some amazing stories come out of Denver over the course of many, many years. And I think those would be my top 4.
Naj, I want to clarify 2 things real quick. First of all, it sounds like you're putting the A in George Payton for his offseason. And number 2, we have some breaking news, courtesy of Twitter and Peter King. Bruce Arians is retiring from coaching and moving to the Bucs front office. Naj, your instant reaction to that news.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. So look at that. I mean, you guys bring it to us first, right? You guys bring it to us first. Wow. So what is that going to mean for the folks out in Florida, right? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
That's a surprise. I mean, he was talking like he's never going to stop coaching. I wonder if there's a health problem or something, that like a Kubiak-esque type health obstacle where he's like, look, because that's such a grind. I mean, people don't realize how consuming, I think, being an NFL head coach truly is. I mean, look no further as the poster child than Gary Kubiak at the type of impact negatively it can have on you if you don't figure out how to balance it. Bruce Arians, according to Ian Rappaport, dream has been to pass it on to one of his assistants when the team was in great shape. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles gets a chance to win a ring as head coach. Had his shot as New York Jets head coach, but now, wow, that's very interesting. Tom Brady is going to be coached by
himself. Tom Brady is the head coach of the team. It doesn't really matter. It's just big news. So I appreciate you giving your insight, Naj.
For sure, brothers, for sure.
Okay, bro. Listen, we love you. We appreciate you. Thanks for all that you have done for us, your contributions to the community. You're in the chat as often as you can, helping us keep the thing flowing and keeping Mile High Huddle as a living, breathing entity. And you're a big part of it, bro. So thanks for making time for us here tonight. We'll look forward to the next meet and greet in Denver. It's going to be a gas, and give our best to the family, and we will talk with you soon.
I appreciate you guys. And I'll just say to everyone listening out there, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to meet these guys, I urge you to come to the next meet and greet. These guys are fantastic, as great a human beings as they are podcasters. I don't know what the official title is for you guys, but man, life-changing. Folks got to come out, enjoy time with these guys. It'll be well worth it. Bros, I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you all later.
Checks
Love
in the
you,
mail.
buddy.
Thanks,
That's what I was going to say. Checks in the mail, big dog. Talk to you later. Naj Altaf, there he goes.
What an
Love him.
amazing individual. Love
What did
that.
I say? A shot of life, right? Naj Altaf. Like if you're, sometimes you get out of bed in the morning, you're dragging a little bit. Call and talk to Naj for just a second. Boom. You don't need caffeine. You don't need that. That's right.
He's got the GOAT symbol
He's the
now.
GOAT.
That's when you know.
He's a badass. There's no doubt.
Transformative, man. Love that cat.
And when he decides to get his fan on, for lack of a better term, dude is unstoppable to a point where, remember when we were live for was it the pregame or postgame? I think it was the postgame. And I was like, Naj, just so Michaela with the very generous super. Love you. Thank you. Appreciate you. She says, Naj put the rest of us to shame. Hire the man. I don't know. Naj, he's got a lot of fish to fry. He's got things cooking. So I don't know. But yes, he's dude, I'm not lying, Zach. We could have sat here with Naj for an hour, and I think everybody would have been stoked on the content.
Chad, just listening to Naj and reading this from Michaela, we are so blessed to have the fans that we interact with and just the individuals on a daily basis. Thank you so much, Michaela. And who doesn't feel better about themselves after hearing Naj? I know I do. I feel more positive. I feel more hopeful than I already was. Well, just a great guy, man. Seriously, great fan, great guy.
Have you ever seen that bit? There's a video. It's a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast about the can't catch a break guys. Right. And how get them away from me. He's the antithesis of the can't catch a break guys. Right. So if you're around the can't catch a break guy, it can be a virulent disease that can be communicated to you. You want to stay away from those people. Conversely, the flip side of that coin is, guys like Naj, contagious, baby. And you stay on the positive, keep that energy, right? One love. Dave, appreciate you, buddy. He says, evening, Chad and Zach and Scott. Great to hear and see Naj. Love his Mount Rushmore. Kind words. And I couldn't agree more. LOL. Cheers. MHH in British Columbia. Oh, man. Naj throwing down. Dude. You're a freaking living legend, bro. Love you. You know this.
Nothing to say. Thank you so much, Naj. That's amazing. Thank you.
He gave me a little tour of his man cave right before we went live, and yeah, I mean, shout out to Glenn Hauser. Glenn Hauser probably still has the most impressive man cave we've seen on this show, for what it's worth. But Naj, dude, that was dope. I was a little bit peanut butter and jelly. I can't lie, dude. Thank you. He says, hey, bros, thanks for everything. Continue to excel, my brothers. Hey, as long as we got you on our side, I have no doubt that we shall. Big dog.
It's not even disingenuous. I feel the same way. It's totally genuine. As long as you're interacting with us, Naj, and a part of the community, it doesn't matter whether we see that number or not. Just having you and having your energy and having your aura, it's truly remarkable. It rubs off. And it makes me feel better about myself. It makes me pinch myself for what I get to do every day, Chad. I'm sure you feel the same way. It's because I feel like you, Naj. Thank you so much.
No doubt. Scott, what are you trying to say? Say that again. Oh, and Scott as well. Scott's giving the props and the love and the thanks. You know. Cody Dubb, appreciate you, big dog. Then we're going to get to some power rankings. We'll catch up on a few and then power rankings. He says, I'm talking fantasy. Should Javonte be in everyone's second round now? That's a really good question. Zach, I'm going to defer to you. I bowed out of fantasy 2 years ago. I'm not quite on the cutting edge as yourself. What's your answer for Cody?
I don't think he's a first-round pick, only because it seems like he's going to be in a timeshare again. For whatever reason, Nathaniel Hackett wants a stable of running backs, whether that's Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone or a rookie. Seems like he's going to be splitting carries to some capacity. Second or third round for sure. I think the later rounds he can be an absolute steal because he'll show his talent like he showed last year. You can't tackle him. He makes yards after contact consistently. He'll be a vulture in the red zone, a vulture off play action for Russell Wilson out of the backfield. I think he's in for a big season. So, yeah, from the second on, I would target Javonte, but first is a little too rich for me.
I am a little bit intrigued to see if Mike Boone's going to be able to make some hay as the number 2. Who knows? Maybe they'll draft someone that ends up being more of a prominent RB2 option behind Javonte, but I'm still stoked on Mike Boone. You know, he kind of got a little bit of a not a bad rap, but he was the victim of some negative momentum in that, what was it, the next day? Or it might have even been later that day after news breaks that the Broncos rescinded the original round tender on Phillip Lindsay. Hey, hit the bricks, you know, go chase your dream or whatever. Then they signed Mike Boone. So people are like, wait a minute, you're replacing our Phillip Lindsay, he of the Pro Bowl, he of the 2-time 1,000-yard rusher, he of the Colorado kid, CU Buffs, with this guy. Who is he? Let's do our research. Oh, yeah. Mile High Huddle. Here's the news article. Okay, Mike Boone, undrafted, 3 or 4 games in Minnesota, whatever it was. That guy for Phillip Lindsay, but he's actually a very good player, and he's going to, I think, just look, wide zone, the stuff that the Minnesota Vikings did while he was there. He had one game, and I'm going off the top of my head on memory here, Zach, where he crushed it north of 100 yards in his yards per carry. He's a guy whose vision will allow him immediately to, no doubt, to succeed in the wide zone. Where I have a few misgivings on just how adept Javonte is going to be out of the gates. I think he'll get it over time because he's so smart. I think it's going to come to him. But Mike Boone, out of the gates, he's good at that.
I mean, for sure. I thought the same thing in terms of the Lindsay resentment, the post-Lindsay release. I was a big fan of Phillip. And when the Broncos signed Mike Boone, my first thought was, who? I mean, who's Mike Boone? He was a no one for the most part in Minnesota, buried behind Dalvin Cook there. But what I saw from him during the season, in the rare opportunities where Pat Shurmur took the shackles off, he was a pretty explosive running back. He was making hay, as the expression goes. It seemed he was very capable, and I think he's a good find by George Paton. A lot of the fan base also thought, why are they paying this guy RB2 money and never playing him as the RB2? If he gets that chance this year, I would rather roll with him easily, 10 times out of 10. Roll with Mike Boone over bringing back Melvin Gordon for that role.
You know what? You just convinced me 100% on that as well. Guys, real quick update. We are on day 30 of the month of March. You know the goal we have on Facebook to reach 250,000 stars. When we reach that goal, just as we've done every single month since we started doing this, we haven't not hit goal. Pardon the double negative there, but we've never not reached the goal. We're on the precipice of March being the first month we don't get to raffle off a Broncos jersey of the winner's choosing. So I'm just letting you guys know where we're at. We got about a 20% margin bridge to a gap, I should say, to bridge. So just an FYI where we're at. We'll do an update at the end of the show and let you guys know. We want to raffle that bad boy. I know someone out there is just dying for that Russ jersey. So just giving you the update. Lana, thank you. Appreciate you. Zach, with that, let's segue real quick here to ESPN Power Rankings here. All right. Now, ESPN's one of those networks out there. When they release a power ranking like this, I'll listen to ESPN. I'll listen to. I got something running here. Hold on one sec. I gotta shut off a video that's in my ear.
No one cares.
1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. ESPN, I want to hear their power rankings. NFL.com, I'll hear their power rankings. The Mothership, Sports Illustrated, I want to hear their power rankings. Some of the other ones out there couldn't care less. But check this out, Zach. The Denver Broncos, number 10. Way too early ranking. So where they initially, ESPN ranked them before all these offseason moves occurred was 21. We can read this here, basically what Jeff Legwold kind of, the analysis he helped provide. But it wasn't just him making this ranking. These are voted amongst their local market reporters or whatever, and then the power rankings come out. But what's your response to this? Do you feel like 10 is about right? Do you feel like it should have been higher? Your thoughts?
Honestly, my first response, I'm trying to squint, but is that the freaking Dallas Cowboys at number 9 right ahead of the Broncos? Because if that's the case, yes, it is. That kind of discredits these power rankings to me because if this is current, they've had a awful off season, and they ended the season very poorly, winning the NFC East and getting bowed out in the first round. I agree with the Broncos ranking. I just don't agree with the Cowboys ranking. But going up from 21, 11 spots on the strength, even though it's not mentioned in the lead there for whatever reason, on the strength of Russell Wilson alone. It's amazing what a legitimate franchise quarterback can do for you. It brought him up to the top 10. They have to prove that. These are just power rankings. It's on paper. It doesn't matter right now, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a more complete roster now that Russell Wilson's part of the fold, a mix of veterans, as they mentioned there, K'Wan Williams, and also youthful players like Hayden Stearns. It's a really powerful roster, and if Russell Wilson hits, there is no reason why they can't finish as a top 10 team in the NFL.
Yeah, that's something to remember, by the way, guys. It's not Quan, it's K'Wan Williams. Let's look at the full list real quick, and then we'll get back to the chat here. So they have number 1. Oh, hold on. I thought it was at the top. 1 second here. Scroll. One more. Buffalo Bills, they have Zach as number 1 in the power rankings, which they leapfrogged 1 spot there. Interesting. Los Angeles Rams, the reigning champs, at 2. Interesting. They did have some personnel losses, not the least of which, of course, being Vaughn. The Chiefs at 3. They dropped a spot. Dang it! I got to stop this. This ESPN's got their monetization model on point, dude. They're freaking cranking out ads left and right. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you real quick, guys. All right. And then I lost it. We'll come back to it. But your thoughts on the Chiefs being at 3? Your thoughts on the Bills at 1? Rams at 2?
Well, you mentioned the Rams losing, personnel, but the Bills lost Brian Daboll, and I feel like that can be a big detriment to Josh Allen's growth because it's Daboll who unlocked Josh Allen, but they're the trendy pick right now. They came within a fluky overtime of beating Kansas City and going on to the AFC Championship to face Cincinnati. But as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you're always going to have that power factor. That's why they're in the top 5 right now. If Mahomes, it doesn't matter about Tyreek Hill, any players they lost like Tyrann Mathieu, anyone, as long as they have Mahomes, they're always going to be the apple of the national media's eye. Same with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Todd Bowles' Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 4, for what it's worth. The Bengals at 5, the AFC champions. Packers at 6. Chargers at 7. Now, you gotta really explain this one to me. I get it. There's so much talent on that roster. People are still pretty hyped and excited about the young head coach. But again, I maintain a constant 24/7 posture on all things Chargers. Believe it when I see it. What have you done for me lately, Zach? They had a for sure ticket punched, or as close as you can get almost, to the playoffs last year and squandered it, as the Chargers are wont to do. Nothing Justin Herbert could do could forestall them from careening off the cliff. That's what the Chargers do. They got them at 7. I don't know about that, dude. The Niners at 8. And then, as you mentioned, the Cowboys at 9, and that wraps up the top 10.
It's tough to know why they made that ranking without reading the little blurb, but if they're going on the defensive additions as the reason why the Chargers are 7, then why are the Cowboys at 9 if they lost a lot of star talent this offseason, not the least of which is Amari Cooper? This is just subjective, though. It's one person's or a group of people's opinions, the people who covered the teams, and where they should rank. So I don't put much stock into it right now. It's March 30th. I feel like this is going to change over and over and over again over the months. It's good, though, that the Broncos are getting back to the relevancy level, though. They're already a top 10 team in ESPN's power rankings. It's a start for Denver.
Tim, hey. Appreciate you being with us tonight, my friend. I wanted to grab this because Chad Muma, the Wyoming linebacker, Luke Patterson had a great feature on this. He went up to the Wyoming Pro Day in Laramie. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Had a really good feature, guys. Go read it at milehighhuddle.com. But do you think Chad Muma, he asked, would be an option for Denver in the second or third round? I think he'll be there in this. I think he'll be there, Zach, in the second round. He's an option in the third round. He'll probably still be there. I think he's going to go probably third round, maybe early in the third round. It wouldn't completely shock me if he goes in the second round, but if the Broncos took him at 64, might be a little too sweet for my blood there, but he's a very, very talented, exciting young player. And listen, George Payton was there in person to watch this dude. I mean, Wyoming has a few prospects, whatever, but everyone was there mostly to check out Muma.
Yeah, and that's a position that George Payton singled out as being a strength of the draft class, as the linebackers and the edge rushers. So if they made Muma, I'm with you, Chad. If they made him the 64th pick, it's a little too early, I feel like, for someone like him, especially when you have needs elsewhere. But I also wouldn't cry. I think he's going to be a great pro. He's going to be a long-term starter at the NFL level, and I think the Broncos defense would benefit from Muma's services.
Lawrence wants to know about the CSU tight end, Trey Mcbride, and thank you for the stars, Lawrence. Really appreciate it, my friend. Hopefully we can hit that goal between today and tomorrow. We can bridge that 20% gap, raffle off a Russell Wilson or whatever the winner. Maybe you already have a Russell Wilson, but whoever wins that raffle, get a Broncos jersey of your choosing. But he wants to know about Trey Mcbride. He is also a very intriguing prospect. Ran a 4.5 at this pro day today for CSU. There is a feature coming out. There's a video that Luke published today. It's on the YouTube channel. You guys can go check that out after the stream. And then he's also got an article coming up on what he saw today and, who was there from the Broncos, other teams and whatnot. But Trey Mcbride, 4.5, Zach, at his pro day. That's for a tight end. I mean, look, Noah Fant was prized. Obviously, he was a very twitchy, polished athlete coming out of Iowa, but what everyone focused on with Noah Fant was, he's 6'4", 250 pounds and runs a 4.5. Trey McBride's right there.
I just feel like it's a luxury for the Broncos. They have a crap ton of receivers. They have a guy who they're really high on in Albert O. Do you need McBride at 64? I mean, if you don't take McBride, your starter is Albert O. But if at right tackle, your starter right now is Billy Turner. At inside linebacker, your starters are Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton. Safety, it's Caden Stearns. I mean, you can maybe use that pick elsewhere. That would be a luxury that I don't think George Payton would pull the trigger on when he's already down a couple picks.
Mark Langley, a.k.a. Mark from Georgia, pardon me, a.k.a. the God King Mark, with a very generous super chat. Thank you, bro. I've missed you. How have you been? What's going on with you? Thanks for the support, my friend. We love you. We appreciate you. You the man.
Thank you, Mark. Rocking the football priest hoodie.
And by the way, one of these days, you're going to have to give us a virtual tour of your man cave. We can get a little bit of a glimpse there in his profile pic of what's behind him, some Bronco gear and swag and stuff hanging on the wall. But one of these days, you're going to have to show us that next time we have you on the show. All right? So be sure to vacuum, dust, all right? And then we'll get her done. You the man, Mark. Chad Beach, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. He says, what is your guys' thoughts on the slot corner we signed from San Fran, K'Wan Williams? Is he a better option than Bryce Callahan? Love the show. Hashtag Denver Broncos for life, MHH, and let's ride. Amen. I think look, Bryce Callahan, I think right now is the best nickel corner in the game when he's on the field. but can you count on him being on the field? That's the problem. Broncos obviously decided that, you know what, we need someone who we can be a little bit more confident in being able to project and expect him to be there for us when because look, NFL teams nowadays, they're running out of nickel and sub packages north of 80% of the time now. They don't spend most of their time in base defense like the old days. So your nickel guy is playing starter snaps. You got to be able to rely on him. And that's the only knock on Bryce Callahan. It used to be Chris Harris, in my opinion, for many years was the best nickel corner in this game. Bryce Callahan, but the health thing. So K1, what do you think, Zach?
I think in a lot of ways they're comparable. When they're on the field, they're really, really, really good slot corners. And when they're not on the field, they're not helping their teams. And they both have injury jackets. They both have injury histories that are cause for concern. I would have liked having Callahan back, but I feel like the Broncos wanted to turn the page on a Vic Fangio guy, and they got a comparable talent in K'Wan Williams. Good run defender, obviously good in coverage. He came from a good system out there in San Francisco. And what I love the most, Chad, they got a starting slot cornerback for $3.5 million per year. I think that's a steal for George Paton.
So I'm looking here at the highest graded corners according to Pro Football Focus last year, and I'm looking for the first mention of a Broncos corner, which I'm already surprised that I haven't seen Patrick Surtain. But let me look here real quick. Where's the first Bronco that's going to check in? Man, brutal. He wasn't the highest graded corner on his own roster last year, Zach, for what it's worth for the Niners. Emmanuel Mosley was ranked higher. Charvarius Ward was ranked higher. Yeah, this is corners. Let me see. And without bogging down the conversation, I'm not even seeing him ranked in the top 50. Surtain, meanwhile, and this is what, when we tell you, take PFF grades with a grain of salt, they can be at times, somewhat illuminating. They can perhaps give you context here and there, but you cannot hang your hat on it. Do you mean to tell me in any way, shape, or form, Zach, that Patrick Surtain was the 38th best cornerback in the league last year, just based on performance alone? No, but they have him graded as the number 38 corner. Get this Sam Hill out of here.
I don't need a number or a stat to tell me Patrick Surtain is a good cornerback. I have these. I have eyes and I have a brain that tells me Patrick Surtain is a good cornerback, and he was a lot higher than 38, so I don't really care.
Big T in the house, Travis Weber. Good to see you, my friend. He says 250 stars for Tabitha, who graciously spotted me stars on Monday night, and 300 for Naj. Nice to meet you, Naj. That's awesome. Travis, you have that standing offer. We want you to come on the show at some point. So you can do it, big dog. One of these days, just keep chewing on it, keep marinating on the possibility. It's going to be great, but you need to do it. Take it from us. Thank you, buddy. Marcus Lewis Henna across the pond, Zach, throwing some stars down. Appreciate it. He says, love and respect to you and to all of Broncos country. Broncos forever. Go ride. I want to go ride. Let's go ride with Russ. Let's do that.
We got some good karma in the comments, though, man. Like people passing on stars and paying it forward. I love to see it. Y'all are the best.
Our community
best
can't be beat. It's second to none. That's why, no lie, I mean, we pinch ourselves every single day. I mean, that's no lie. Chris, one of my favorite profile pics, dude. He's still rocking the gator, the face mask, Huddle Up Pod, or pardon me. Yeah, Mile High Huddle. And then the Huddle Up Pod mug. Love it, dude. Veteran of the United States Air Force with the super sticker. Love you, big dog. Hope you're doing well. We need to bring you back on soon. We need to iron that out. Did we? I sent you an email, right? Did you get the second email? Let me know, Chris. Eric Weber as well. Evening, Chad, Zach, and Naj. Even throwing down for Naj. Liking the treacherous trio on MHH tonight. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I'm sure Naj appreciates it. Very cool. But you know what? Naj held his own, more than held his own, Zach.
Killed it. Yeah, I was going to say he put us to shame in that segment. He was rocking it.
Andrew Baker, what's good? Big dog. We want to get you on the show one of these days if you want to. Not everyone wants to, but if you want to come on for a superstar segment, dude, send me an email, milehighhuddle@gmail.com. You know this. We've communicated on email before, so let's figure out a time. Let's get you on, dude. Let's get that phenomenal braid you've got and your Javante jersey that you won on the show. Let's do that, big dog. He says, Naj was beast mode, MHH for life. Seems like a lot of teams have right tackle trouble, and Denver actually has the best one in the AFC West. So what's the deal with right tackle? Is it harder than the other, than left tackle, I guess is what he's asking. No, it's just that the best ones that come, in college, if you're a really good tackle, your team wants you to play on the left side. Why? Because most quarterbacks are right-handed. Most people are right-handed. So that just means that most quarterbacks are going to be right-handed. So if you got to prioritize which side of the line, right, you want to prioritize, put your best guy on the quarterback's blind side. So that's always going to be for a right-handed quarterback, the left tackle. That's why best talent goes there first, Zach. Otherwise, look, Doc Bear, shout out to him. He had a great article for us 2 days ago at milehuddle.com. Dr. Emmett Smith, OMD, shout out. It's all over fatman.com. He likes, Zach, to talk about the fact and laments the whole dancing bears thing that they don't teach O-line like they used to in college anymore because of the spread, right? The spread offense dictates different requirements that are much less demanding than pro-style systems. And so NFL, or I should say college NFL prospects, are not getting the same love and attention, the same coaching acumen and expertise that they once did. And so it only dilutes the stream that much further. I'm kind of rambling a little bit here now, but trying to give you a more complete answer, Andrew, to what is seemingly on the surface a simple question, but it's not that simple.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on other than if they played him at right tackle, Rashawn Slater is easily the best right tackle in the division, but they're playing him as somewhat on left tackle as well. So it is a tough position to nail down. All the offensive line positions are, from center to right tackle, guard. That's why you have to win in the trenches, and the Broncos have done a fairly good job building that up, but right tackle has eluded them. The bigger lesson is you can't keep trying to fill that gap with one-year rentals over and over and over again. At some point, you have to use a premium draft pick to fill that need. The Broncos haven't. They've literally neglected that for half a decade.
Rodney Garcia on Facebook. Appreciate you. More love for Naj here. He says, hope everyone's having a blessed day. Just heard the news for safety Malcolm Jenkins announcing his retirement and how he won the Super Bowl against Manning and Brady. Yeah, he was one of the better safeties of his era. So, congratulations to him on his retirement.
The wild offseason continues.
Yeah, I mean, unprecedented offseason. It's been so much fun. So much fun. Phil, great to see you, bro. Thank you for the stars. I believe we can bridge the 20% gap. Let's keep it going. Love you. He says, I loved seeing and listening to Naj. Truly a Bronco fanatic. This is great. We love the feedback. He's hardcore. Trust. Darius Simmons, welcome. Appreciate you, my friend. If you're new to the chat, this is the first super chat that I can recall seeing from you. So connect on Twitter with us. We like to keep in touch with our supporters and our super chat superstars. Love you. Appreciate you. He says, what's up, Chad and Zach? I've been watching you guys for over a year and now finally caught you live. Just want to say thanks for everything you do. Hey, dude, very kind. Thank you, Darius. Anywho, who has more touchdowns next season, Jerry, Judy, or Cortland, Sutton? That's an interesting question. That's fun.
I'm going to say Judy has more yards, but Sutton has more touchdowns. If only because Sutton's going to be a freaking monster in the red zone. I mean, just throw it up and he'll come down with it. He's, again, no 50-50 balls when Sutton's in the game. It's more like 80-20. That's my answer. They're all going to feast, but it seems like so far from that video that Russ put out, he's connecting especially so with Sutton. And he trained later with Judy. He's thrown to KJ as well and Tim Patrick. But it seems like so far Sutton is his DK Metcalf. And he's going to love that DK Metcalf when he gets between the 20s.
I can't picture any receiver catching more tutties from Russell Wilson in 2022 than Cortland Sutton. So that's my answer as well. But I'm telling you, the kind of funk that Jerry Judy found himself in year two, mostly due to subpar, well, first off, mostly due to an injury, and then, less than ideal, I'll say kindly, quarterback play. I think he's going to shuck that off, exercise it like the demon that it was. And Russ, he's that football priest of his own that's going to help him do that. And, hey, he's reborn. He's reborn. He's going to have a big year. Michael, dude, throwing down stars tonight. Love you, buddy. Thank you. Chad, you as well, big dog. Appreciate that. But yeah, dude, Zach, everyone on this offense, I don't want to get too crazy here and make you think that this is going to be 2013 all over again, where everyone's catching 10 tutties and, 100 and 5 receptions, 1,400 yards like that Peyton Manning offense. But Russell Wilson was criminally underused. Not underused. Doc Bear's article does a great job of kind of illustrating this, guys. Go read it. It's one of the best things we've published at Mile High Huddle this year. Go read that article. But their philosophy in Seattle was such that it didn't cater as much to their quarterback strengths as it should have. They looked a gift horse in the mouth. You don't do that. When you get the horse as a gift, you say, thank you, please, and you make use of that. They didn't do that with Russ, and the Broncos are not going to make that mistake, Zach. So I can see Star Wars numbers. I can see Russ throwing in the 40s for touchdowns. I can see Russ approaching 5,000 through the air. I just don't want people to totally expect that, but you're going to see a massive step forward offensively from yardage, Zach, and point production.
Yeah, I was going to say, if ever your franchise quarterback has a hashtag born that says let them cook, you're not in a good position with that franchise quarterback. He's not going to have to worry about cooking or passing in Denver. Nathaniel Hackett will air it out and take advantage of the skill core like Pat Shurmur could never dream of. I wouldn't be surprised if there are gigantic, 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, but we have to also remember it's going to help out the running game. So there may be situations in the red zone or outside the red zone where Javonte or Mike Boone or anyone can break off a long run because teams fear the pass. Teams finally fear the Broncos quarterback.
That's right. You finally have a quarterback in Denver again, gang, where the opponent fears him. Wrap your brain around that. How rad. Joshua Shadow, one of our great Super Chat superstars, been with us a long time. Love you, buddy. He says, everyone's telling me to calm down with how excited I am about this next season, but seeing Russ working with the receivers, F that. Let's ride. Amen, big dog. Don't let anyone tell you to turn down. All right. No. For what? Right?
That was a good one.
Nash the Fifth. Dude, thank you for that very generous super chat, bro. You have just been coming on strong. I'll say, Zach, probably the last 3 months, Nash has just been quickly moving up to true superstar level. So thank you, Nash. Keep it up, dude. And we'll get you an invite to the show here in the near future. Appreciate you. Okay. He says, good evening, Priest. What rookie head coach do you think is going to have the most immediate success? I believe Hackett will, but the Vikings and Dolphins look like they're getting primed to compete as well. First of all, Zach, I like Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. I still have a hard time picturing that dude commanding a room. I don't know. I just don't see it in Miami. But the Vikings, hey, maybe Kevin O'Connell knows how to get the most. And not to say that it's not like Kirk Cousins has been bad since he came to Minnesota. Don't get me wrong. But nothing. He hasn't been able to put the team on his shoulders and will the Vikings to a greater team success than basically they were before him. So we'll see. I'll believe that when it happens. Meanwhile, Broncos have something special cooking, Zach. Some kind of a momentum, like a magical momentum going on with this Hackett thing, this Russ thing, the free agent haul. I can only imagine that Peyton's going to make good with another killer draft class. The Broncos, to me, if we were taking odds on who's going to be the best first-year head coach, I'm going with Hackett. I have to go with Hackett just because, how many of the first-year head coaches actually have a bona fide franchise quarterback? You could say O'Connell does, but I could also make an argument that he's not truly a franchise quarterback, but I'm not going to. Unquestionably, Hackett has one.
My answer is Josh McDaniels. I'm kidding, guys. I'm joking. I do like what McDaniel is putting together in Miami. That offense looks pretty scary. And I do like what O'Connell can bring to the table in Minnesota. They were always like a treading 500 team under Mike Zimmer. Maybe O'Connell can push them over the edge. You know me, I love going with the young coaching staff. But success is all relative. I think that Brian Daboll in New York is going to bring a basement team to respectability. I don't know about playoffs. If you want to talk about success, I think Todd Bowles is going to have the most success working with Brady in Tampa Bay now.
Yeah, but you know what? Todd's not first year.
But
and he'll be new this year to his job, but he'll technically be a retread, as is McDaniels, I guess.
But I think Hackett, among the rookie first-time ever head coaches, can bring the Broncos to the biggest, from a 7-win team to a 12 or 13-win team. So unbiasedly, if I wasn't even covering the Broncos, I'd go with Hackett, considering what he can do with with Russ.
No doubt about it. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a live update on where we're at with the with Facebook, just so you know, because I think we took a big step already tonight. We don't have too much time left this evening, but Zach and I will be back tomorrow night. Oh man, come on. I'll come back to that here in a second. But Phil says, I would love to see us steal Tyrann Mathieu away from KC. I'm sure KC fans would go crazy. LOL. What do you guys think? Well, Zach, there was an interesting Twitter encounter between Tyrann Mathieu and Russ Wilson today, I believe it was, which I don't know if you caught that, but he green check marked something emoji that Russell, what was it? What did Russ even say? You probably know.
He said God makes miracles or something to that extent. And Mathieu just literally all he did was tweet the green check mark. So I think people read into that a little too much. It could just mean that he agrees with that sentiment. I don't think Matthew's coming to Denver. He would be another luxury addition to a defense that really doesn't need him. He's getting to be over the hill. They have two young safeties in Caden Stearns and Jamar Johnson. They already have a veritable Pro Bowler, All-Pro in Justin Simmons. You don't need Mathieu. I'm just saying, don't spend money for the sake of spending money.
Good point. Good point. I would like to see it, though. You know, you've heard me say this before, guys, but Matthew's one of those players where when he's on a rival team, you hate him. But he's like a N'Keep Talib where when he's on your team, man, you love that kind of a guy. I'm not as convinced as Zach that he's quite on the downturn, but he is getting longer in the tooth by the second. So if you bring Tyrann Mathieu in, Zach, the Honey Badger, it's got to be on a relative team-friendly deal. I don't think he's in a position where he has to take team friendly. Like he can probably get out there and find a little something, but we'll see.
Well, I feel like they're trying to get younger on defense, and signing Mathieu to take over for Stearns would kind of defeat that purpose. So I don't see him coming here.
G ain't nothing but a G thing. Hill jumping in with a very generous super chat. Thank you, bro. You've also been coming on strong lately, and we appreciate it, brother. Keep it up. He says, good evening, guys. I am ready for football. Well, hurry up and wait, right? He says, let's go Broncos. We'll win the West. Good talk, Naj. 64 Lucas is at 64. Lucas, the tackle from Washington State, is best unless we move up to the first round. And then he's got the Denver Broncos for life, hashtag MHH for life. Appreciate that, brother. Yeah, he's an intriguing option for Denver at 64. Go read Eric Trickle's Finding Broncos scouting report. If you go to milehighhuddle.com, click on draft, scroll down, you'll see all the individual breakdowns, because the whole point of Finding Broncos, real quick, is for fans who, it can be overwhelming if you don't follow college religiously and if you don't stay in touch with everything in the draft media business. So you start hearing some of these player names, and for people, and I'm even speaking to myself here, where I don't have as much time as I would love to be able to study NFL draft prospects. It's sometimes hard to know who's who, who are the players, who's good for this team at this pick, et cetera, et cetera. Finding Broncos is about taking the top 100 players, all right, and doing a feature on them, how they would fit for the Broncos. Do they fit for the Broncos? So go read that on Abraham Lucas. It's a good read.
If you gave me the option of Lucas versus Trey McBride, I'm going Lucas at 64 all day, because the need for Denver. McBride wouldn't be necessarily.
Well said, brother. We are at 54 minutes, so we still got a little bit of time, but we got to start winding her down. Shane Daniels, the Aviator. Shane, we've never officially had you on the show as a superstar segment. Did we bring Shane on when we went live from the stadium? He was there with us all day, by the way. Ride or die member of our community, hanging out, putting a few back. It was fun hanging out with Shane Daniels. But I don't think, did he come on? Did we bring, do you remember? In between us, we had the me and you in a chair and then a cooler in between us.
I thought everyone, for the most part, came back on after the game, but
either way, Shane, we need you for a true bona fide superstar segment. He says, after seeing the Jerry Judy Russell video, it looks and feels like the Peyton Manning days again. Yeah, it kind of has that vibe, right? Where everything gonna be all right. It's like mommy would tuck you in at night, give you a kiss, dad would come in, kiss you on the forehead or whatever, and you just knew when you went to sleep that night, everything's right as rain. That's what it feels like again in the Mile High City.
Yeah, for the last 5 years, we were getting locked into a dark room with no goodbye, no kiss on the forehead. Chad, just here's a cold mattress and a thin blanket. Go to sleep now. Wake up in the morning.
And then the monsters would come out from under the bed, and you'd just be tormented all night long.
It would be dabbing and playing Fortnite all night long.
Andrew Baker, he says, I'd love to come on and chat with y'all. Okay, dude. And he says, yeah, let's hit the goal, gang. Hit the like button, if anything. Yes. Likes, guys. Please, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, like the video. It's a small thing you can do that helps us out. Big bad way. All right, Andrew, I'll shoot you an email. Okay. Chad Beach, again. Thank you, buddy. He says, with my first post, also, I forgot to say good evening to Scott as well, giving the Mr. Producer a tip of the cap. So good evening, Scott, he says, and everyone else on here. Love the show and all the info you guys keep us up to date with. Keep it coming. Hashtag Let's Ride. Appreciate it. Really, we do. Thanks, buddy. And I know Scott appreciates it. Sebastian Walker jumping in with the super chat. Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that generosity, my friend. Connect on Twitter. He says, Zach and Chad, love you guys. We love you too. We love you too. He says, we got one. We got the one QB in Russell Wilson when he was healthy to beat Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, to face the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
From the ball, Pete. God,
yeah, man.
From the freaking ball.
Yeah, he could. Russ could have been in one of those elite clubs of back-to-back world champion quarterbacks. There aren't too many of them, and he came one bad play call away. Now, look, you could put some of that argument, or pardon me, some of that blame on Russ because, you know, the DB, what was his name?
Malcolm Butler,
who became a legend for a short period after that, just made a great play on that ball. The receiver didn't fight through his route as well as he should have. I don't know. But the quarterback threw the ball, so you can blame Russ for, in part anyway, but you got to run the ball right there. Normally we're saying let Russ cook. Right there we were saying, whether you're a Seahawks fan or not, everyone was rooting for the freaking Patriots to go down, right? Except for Patriot fans. Run the ball right there, dude. You got Marshawn Lynch still in his prime. What are you doing?
I would have ran it 4 downs. If you stop me with Marshawn Lynch for 4 downs, then you deserve to win that game. There's no reason why I should be passing the ball. It still makes me angry to think about. That was, what, 2015?
It was the 2014 season, but the Super Bowl took place in 15, yeah.
I'm still angry about it.
I know. Frustrating. And especially for Bronco fans who watched the Seahawks trounce us and embarrass us in Super Bowl 48 in MetLife Stadium, which, again, of all the quarterbacks who had to be the guinea pig for a Super Bowl in a, north of the Mason-Dixon line Super Bowl, like, this is the one we're going to do outside weather in freaking February, and it's going to be in New York. Peyton Manning gets to be the guinea pig for that, Mr. He of the, dome. I'm a dome quarterback, all that. And I know he had kind of repudiated some of that reputation through his first 2 years in Denver playing in the open air of Mile High, but still, that was the first bad omen, Zach, for Super Bowl 48. But anyway, Michael Ronquillo, dude, thank you. Throwing down tonight. Love you, buddy. Appreciate everything that you do. And if you ever want to come on, we'd love to have you on the show as well, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for sure.
And this is the time that we do it, guys. We don't have as much time during the regular season to have the superstar segments because we're so driven by the news cycle. Off season, we have the time to invite people onto the show. So this is when we got to capitalize. G, again, thank you, buddy. He says, do you guys play Madden? They need to put Russ in, put Russ already, update the roster, LOL. Dude, I used to be a religious Madden player. I'd buy it every year, update it, the whole thing. When I really got serious about my media career, I had to prioritize, what do I do? And with my downtime, if I'm not with Mama Bear, if I'm not with my kids, what am I doing? This is what I'm doing. So I haven't played it much, Zach. I'll be honest, for 10 years. I don't know about you, though.
I was literally going to say I have not picked up Madden in about 10 years because the game became a joke. It's all, you pay for a roster update every single year, 60, however much it costs now. Madden used to be the SH bleep T, Chad. It used to be the game to play, and I used to be religious about it like you were. I used to wait outside of GameStop at midnight for the release. Like, I was all about Madden, but it's a joke now. So he'll be on the roster eventually for anyone who plays it. And I know the Broncos are going to be a popular team to play with on offense, at least in the game this year.
Scott, I'm with you, dog. He says, I was good on 92 Madden. That's how freaking old. Yeah, dude, you know what? I was too. Scott and I aren't too far off in age for what it's worth. Travis Weber, love you, buddy. Appreciate the kind words. And I know Naj appreciates it as well. You have a good night, my friend. We appreciate you. But we've got to rapid fire through just a couple more because it's time for us to say goodnight. Shane, love you. big dog. We'll get you on the show. I'll be in touch. Wait, do I have your email address? Send me an email, Shane, just in case. All right, milehighhuddle@gmail. Let me see. We clear here, Scott? We good to go? Zach, you want to do your thing, big dog?
That was the Huddle Up Podcast, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. Special thanks to Naj and Michaela and Mark and everyone for your amazing generosity and support and interaction, every single person. Follow us on Twitter until we see you guys next tomorrow night. Follow us at Huddle Up Pod. You can follow the main account at Mile High Huddle. You can follow Chad on Twitter at Chad and Jensen. You can follow myself at Kelberman NFL. Follow Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy. If you would like a dad hat, a hat like Chad's wearing, all our goodies right there, huddleuppod.com, and also facebook.com/milehuddlepod. Like that page, follow that page. Guys, if you haven't, go to Apple Podcasts and leave your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch and some swag each and every single month. But if you can't do those things, please do these 3 things. Subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
That it does. And guys, here's how it ended tonight. We bridged 6% of, well, yeah. So we got to get 20%. We're at 86% now. So we got 14% left to bridge by end of tomorrow. And the good news is we got 2 shows tomorrow. Broncos for Breakfast on the Bright with Scott and Nick. And then Zach and I will be back in the saddle, same time, 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. So I still am holding out hope that we can bridge that gap and raffle off a Russell Wilson jersey Sunday night. Okay, I think we can get her done. But shout out, here's how our great supporters on Facebook, pardon me, this is how you finish tonight. Michael Ronquillo on top, narrowly edging out Travis Weber and Chad Beach and Shane Daniels. Love you guys. Howie freaking Day. Dude, you the man. Phil McLaughlin, Andrew Baker, Lana, Brad Murdoch, Marcus Lewis Henna, Eric Weber, and Lawrence Rivera. Shout out to you guys. And then our great Super Chat superstars, Naj Altaf at the top for appearing tonight and then throwing down a massive Super Chat. Thank you, bro. That means so much to us, each and every one of you. And especially when you're that generous, it just really does blow our hair back in a good way, okay? So James Webb, appreciate you. Cody Dubb, Michaela the Duchess, love you. Chris Hernandez, love you, bro. Let's see, Dave Millage, Darius Simmons, what's up? Mark the God King, Joshua Shadow, Nash the Fifth, and then of course ain't nothing but a G Thang Hill and Sebastian Walker. So much love and respect. Really appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Have a great rest of your Wednesday nights. Take care, and as always, go Broncos. Let's ride.